When Joe Biden accepts the Democratic Party's nomination for president tonight, it will be his 12th convention in 48 years. The 77-year-old has attended every Democratic convention since 1972 except one, actively working to support each nominee. In a new article on CBSNews.com, 2020 campaign reporter Bo Erickson takes a look back at a long political career that finally takes center stage in Delaware tonight, and a man on a mission whose moment in history may have finally arrived. And Bo joins us now from Wilmington, Delaware, to talk about this. Bo, some really fascinating history here. I want to first start off by asking you about that first convention that Biden attended in 1972. He apparently skipped a vote in Delaware to be in Miami Beach, right?
Yes, well, after 48 years of attending these conventions, it's finally his moment, and the convention actually came home to him as we're just right down the street from his house. He started attending these conventions in 1972, actually when he was a Newcastle County councilman, just close near to Wilmington here. And a lot of the other councilmen were questioning what he was doing in 1972 attending the national convention, because they said he was missing city ordinance votes. And they kind of razzed him for that because he was on this long shot bid for the Senate in 1972. He won that Senate race, and by the time the next convention came around in 1980, he was the first Senate endorser of Jimmy Carter. And because he got on board so quick of the Carter campaign, it was actually President Carter that made him the convention steering committee chairman that year as well. And then as President Carter took the renomination the next year in 1980. He was actually challenged by Senator Ted Kennedy. And Joe Biden kind of led this Senate push and was trying to rally the other Senate Democrats to say, we should not be challenging a sitting president in our party. Eventually, Ted Kennedy dropped out to challenge Carter during the convention, but the night that he dropped out actually took some attention away from Joe Biden because he was delivering his first convention speech that night in 1980. He was talking about the false hope of Ronald Reagan. And because I'm a good company guy, I have to mention that only one TV network carried Joe Biden's speech that year, and that was CBS News.
That's a good thing to mention there, Bo. You actually talked to the first delegate who ever voted for Biden as a nominee. That's pretty cool. What can you tell us about that?
So that was 1984 attending that convention, and Joe Biden had not yet launched his first presidential campaign. That would come 4 years after that, but it was 1984, and a Maine second grade teacher, her name is Karen Carr, said she really liked Biden's charisma and that he was forward-looking. And so she was an unpledged delegate, so she got to essentially vote for whoever. And she said she knew it wouldn't take votes away from the Democratic nominee that year, so she voted for Joe Biden. I talked to her this week. She's now a Florida retiree, and she said that a few months after the convention that year, she saw Joe Biden at a Senate fundraiser, and he got down on one knee, he kissed her hand, and thanked her profusely in front of everyone there for voting for her. I asked her if she supported him this year in the Democratic primary, and she said that her first choice was actually Pete Buttigieg and then Senator Amy Klobuchar, but she said she's very happy now that Joe Biden, 36 years after she first voted for him, is now at the top of the party, but she also admitted that she didn't think it would take this long.
That's funny. Why did Biden miss that one convention in 1988? He started out hoping to attend as a nominee. What happened?
Yes, he wanted to be the nominee because in 1987 he launched that first bid for the presidency, but he shortly dropped out because he was caught up in this plagiarism scandal. He used words from actually a British Labour Party politician, and his rival's campaign, Michael Dukakis, linked that video to the press, and so they kind of pushed him out of the race. So when the convention came around the following year in 1988, the Delaware delegation, Joe Biden's home state, they were very angry. They were sitting there in the seats and they were saying, our guy could have beat this guy if Dukakis' team didn't play all these politics there. But Joe Biden was not there. He did not have to see Michael Dukakis take that nomination because he was actually recovering from a brain aneurysm. He had 2 surgeries that summer, so he watched the convention at home like other Americans.
When he spoke at the 2000 convention in Los Angeles, Bo, it was to support Vice President Al Gore, and during that convention, he also revealed he'd clashed with then President Clinton. What was that about?
So Joe Biden spent these conventions every 4 years running around talking to all these state delegations. And his big message in 2000 was that the Democrats have family guys with Al Gore and that they are the party of integrity. Because he was so angry about how Bill Clinton acted in his White House, he was actually quoted talking to the Iowa delegation as saying he was incredibly outraged by the indiscretion with President Clinton with former White House intern Monica Lewinsky. He was actually so PO'd, if you will, that he actually told the Associated Press that after Bill Clinton spoke to the nation, right after he announced this Lewinsky scandal, that he called Joe Biden. And Joe Biden told President Clinton at that time that he was lucky that he was not standing near him. And Bill Clinton asked, why is that? And Joe Biden said, because I'd knock you on your butt. He didn't use butt, but he said a different word. But he was still very angry, and we can kind of see that Joe Biden had some of those fisticuffs 20 years later, too, as this year on the campaign trail.
Bo, you know, I'm a huge history buff, and I just loved reading your piece, and a lot of nuggets in there that I did not know about. So I encourage our viewers to check out your write-up on CBSNews.com. It's really illuminating, really, really good stuff. Thank you very much for sharing some of those details with us here.
Thanks, Vlad.